They say being chosen by an alpha is a blessing, but what if the alpha regrets choosing you? That's how your nightmare begins, on the night he marks you. And then walks away. He didn't look back. Not when your body hit the ground. Not when the pack turned their eyes on you in disgust. They called you desperate. A mistake, said the moon goddess. Must have been drunk when she tied your soul to his. He let them believe it. Let them whisper that you'd forced the mark, that you weren't his equal, just a burden he had to bear. But they didn't see the way his hands shook when he touched you. They didn't hear the way his wolf growled when another male looked your way. He says he doesn't want you, but the bond still burns under your skin. So tell me this. If he truly hates you, why did he smell like your scent when he returned from her bed? And if he's already chosen someone else, why does he still dream about the night you mated or worse? What if he can't control what's coming next? Chapter 11. Mate. You landed hard on the floor as Venius shoved you off him. Your hands hit the ground, breaking your fall just barely. You blinked up at him, stunned. He stood, buttoning his pants, jaw tight. Who was that girl? He snapped. You frowned. What girl? The one with the towels. She came in, went into the bathroom, then ran out like a ghost. His voice rose in frustration, and he dragged a hand through his hair. Damn it! You stared at him, trying to make sense of what just happened. 1 minute you were well, doing your best, and now he was acting like he'd been struck by lightning. Less than a minute ago, you had him right where you wanted. You were on your knees, giving him exactly what he asked for. But then his whole mood shifted. He froze, his eyes locked on the bathroom like something in there had startled him. And now this. There was a girl, you asked, slowly. Venius nodded, his expression hard. She left towels in the bathroom. Who handles that? You sat up straighter. One of the Omegas, I guess. I don't know exactly who. Find out, he said through clenched teeth. You swallowed your pride and nodded. Yes, Alpha Venius, I'll find out and let you know. You got up and left quickly, your face burning with shame and anger. Outside the room, you let out a breath and clenched your fists. You hated the way he used his alpha tone on you. But worse than that, someone saw you. Someone saw that. And now you had a new problem to handle. Your thoughts raced as you spotted a group of Omegas down the hallway. You barked. I have some questions. Back inside the room, Venius paced, his jaw tight and his body still aching. Everything felt off. Marcy's scent still clung to his skin, coconut, and something artificial, and it made his stomach turn. Before today, he never paid much attention to her scent. Now, he hated it. That girl, the one with the towels. She had smelled like sweet citrus and freesia flowers. One whiff, and his wolf had growled, mate. His wolf had recognized her, not Marcy, her. Venius had barely caught a glimpse, just messy copper hair, oversized clothes, and wide, scared eyes, but the scent had sunk into his senses like wildfire. He couldn't forget it. Caden had changed the moment he met Maya. Venius never judged him for it, but he always swore he wouldn't fall like that. He couldn't afford to. Being alpha meant staying sharp, staying focused. He wouldn't let one girl shift his whole world, right? Frustrated, Venius headed for the shower. He needed to get Marcy's scent off him, but as the water ran down his skin, he saw that coppery hair again. He felt that citrus scent, and before he realized, his hand was moving. Damn it, he growled and stopped. Do you think you can finish with just anyone? His wolf asked. What are you talking about? Being with another girl hurts our mate. Can you hurt her? Venius's mind flashed back to the girl's face, the fear in her eyes as she slipped out of the room. He cursed. Thanks for that. How am I supposed to finish now? You're not. Go find her. Venius slammed the water off and stepped out, grabbing a towel. He dressed quickly and headed for the door. Just as he reached for the knob, someone knocked. It was Nora. Alpha Venius, she said in a sing-song voice. My father returned. He's waiting in the study. I'm here to show you the way. Venius raised an eyebrow. So now Alpha Edward decided to show up? Fine, I'm ready. Lead on. Nora beamed and turned, swaying slightly as she walked. Venius didn't care. He followed, his mind already on the meeting ahead. Inside the study, Alpha Venius, Alpha Edward greeted him smoothly. I hope your trip was pleasant. Sorry I couldn't welcome you myself. There were urgent matters. I'm sure you understand. Venius nodded stiffly. Of course. He didn't believe a word of it. An alpha doesn't leave an honoured guest hanging, not without a reason. That stunt at the border was clearly a cover. Lunch was good, Venius said. Your wife greeted us. Your daughter was eager to get to know me, but I thought it best to speak with you first. Edward smiled. And what do you want to talk about? Venius didn't bother sugarcoating it. What do you want? Edward gave a soft chuckle. I want my daughter to have a good husband. You're strong, well-respected, and available. She's trained to be a good Luna. What more could you ask for? Venius narrowed his eyes. And that's it? You expect nothing in return? Edward waved a hand. Once she's married, she'll live with you. I only ask that she visits us now and then. I might drop by too someday, when my son takes over and I have more time. Venius clenched his jaw. Busy? The same man who insisted Venius visit for days was now suddenly too busy to travel. This wasn't just disrespect, it was a power play. Venius stood up, hands in his pockets. We're leaving tomorrow, he said flatly. Think about whatever conditions you plan to attach to this marriage. I want full terms before I agree to anything, and I don't change deals once they're made. Touch what's mine, and there will be consequences. Edward's smile tightened. Is that a threat? No, Venius said. That's a warning. Chapter 12. Denial. How do I find her? Venius asked his wolf the moment he stepped out of Alpha Edward's study. Follow your nose, his wolf replied, like it was obvious. Venius tried. He walked around the main floor, the second floor. Nothing. Not even a trace. He started questioning whether she was real. He was an alpha, his senses sharper than most, and yet her scent vanished like she was never there. Frustrated and still rattled, he decided to wait. You said you'd find out which Omega was in charge of towels. Maybe you'd give him a name or something to go on? Venius dropped onto the bed and took a moment to think. His wolf said that girl was his mate, yet she bolted. Isn't there supposed to be a pull? Some kind of connection? What did you expect? His wolf growled. For her to leap into your arms while you had Miss Barbie on her knees? Venius winced. I forgot about that, he admitted. The moment he saw her copper hair, oversized clothes, wide eyes, everything else vanished, including you. His whole focus shifted to the girl quietly sneaking out the door. And now, she was gone. What if she hates me? Venius wondered. Do I even care if she likes me? Of course you care, his wolf snapped. She's different. She's ours. Different how? She's not clinging to you. She's not playing games. The moon goddess matched her with us for a reason. Don't screw it up before you even understand what's at stake. Venius didn't answer. Every woman he'd met felt like an anchor, demanding, manipulative, constantly acting like they were the ones in charge. If he let a mate in, he knew exactly what would happen. She'd own his heart, and she could twist him any way she liked. That kind of power was dangerous. Maybe it was best to leave it alone, finish his business here and move on. Pretend she never existed. Trying to shake off his thoughts, Venius grabbed his laptop and buried himself in work. He was still alpha of one of the strongest packs in the region. There was always something to deal with. Later that afternoon, you came to his room again. He barely looked up from his laptop when you entered, acknowledging you with a short glance. You didn't mind. He was focused, his posture sharp, eyes narrowed, and you could feel the strength coming off him in waves. It made your heart beat faster. You sat quietly in the chair across from him, content to just watch. The longer you stared, the more drawn you felt. Venius wasn't just handsome, he was dominant, confident, powerful. The kind of man no one dared to question. And soon, you'd be his Luna. Once you had that title, no one would ever look down on you again. No one would whisper behind your back or question your worth. Venius would be your shield and your weapon. You could have sat there forever, watching him work. Occasionally, thoughts of George crept in, but you shoved them away. He was an Omega. You were an Alpha's daughter. This was your rightful place. Still, something nagged at you. He hadn't mentioned the girl who barged in earlier. You'd looked into it. Omegas said it was some pathetic girl from the attic, Talia. No one liked her. They called her lazy, said she was always slacking off. You'd gone to confront her, but the attic door was locked. It took some coaxing, but she eventually opened up and you made sure she understood her place. You'd expected Venius to be pleased with how you handled it, but he hadn't even asked. Maybe that meant he already saw you as his Luna, someone who handled things quietly, efficiently, without bothering him. You liked that idea. Knock, knock. A soft knock broke the silence. Alpha Venius. A girl's voice called from the other side. Dinner will be served in 10 minutes. You stood and opened the door. Thank you. Tell my mother we'll be there on time. The Omega gave a nervous nod and rushed off. Venius smirked slightly. You noticed. You carried yourself like you belonged in that room, like you had the right to speak for him, to answer the door like his mate already. He wasn't fooled. Caden, he called through the mind link. We're leaving tomorrow morning. I thought you planned to stay longer tomorrow. Venius cut him off. He'd had enough. You and your father were clearly scheming, and he didn't plan to stick around longer than necessary. With any luck, by morning he'd expose you and Alpha Edward for what you were, find out exactly what you both wanted from him, and be on his way. But that girl, the one with the copper hair, was still in the back of his mind. She'd slipped away like a shadow, and her scent haunted him. She was the first variable in a long time he didn't know how to handle. Dinner was nearly identical to lunch, except Alpha Edward, his son James, and Beta Raymond joined them. The seating arrangement had shifted. Edward sat at the head of the table, Venus to his right. You sat beside Venus, smiling softly. "What's with you?" Maya's voice came through the mind link. "What do you mean? You haven't looked at her once. And she's talking like you're both on a date." Venus blinked. She was right. You were chatting softly, trying to engage him, and he hadn't even noticed what was on his plate. He forced himself to focus. "What did you two find on her?" he asked Maya and Caden. Caden answered, "Nothing useful. She came back from Europe a few days ago. Been acting like the perfect daughter ever since. Define perfect. Obedient. Respectful. No drama. No bullying. Nothing that stands out," Maya added. "Honestly, she's too clean. Alpha daughters are usually entitled nightmares. Maybe Europe softened her, or maybe she's hiding something." Venus glanced at you again. You were smiling politely, saying something about the soup. He kept his expression calm as he responded through the link. "Keep digging. Check with our contacts in Europe. I want to know everything she's been doing the last 10 years. There's no way she's this squeaky clean." "Aye, aye, boss," Caden joked, then cleared his throat when Venus didn't laugh. "We've already got people on it. Reports should be ready by morning. It was a solid plan. Find dirt on you, use it to blow up your chances of becoming Luna, discredit you publicly, slap both you and Alpha Edward in the face without technically crossing any lines. Sure, Venus could just reject you outright, but doing that would make him look reckless like a bully. Alpha Edward could spin it as Venus humiliating his daughter for no reason, and that would make Venus a target. There were always people waiting for him to slip. Usually, Venus enjoyed playing the long game. You were beautiful, graceful, easy enough to tolerate for a few days, but tonight, something felt different. He was restless, off balance. He wanted this over with, because somewhere in this house, a girl with copper-coloured hair was hiding, and for the first time in his life, Venus wasn't sure what to do next. Chapter 13. Resistance. After dinner, everyone moved to the living room where dessert and drinks were being served. Venus sat stiffly while others chatted and sipped wine. Caden and Maya, however, didn't linger. After just one drink, they said goodnight and excused themselves for a stroll in the garden. Then later, they'd quietly explore the Red Moon pack house, hoping to overhear gossip from Omegas or ask a few pointed questions. Venus barely touched his drink. His wolf was restless, twitchy, growling at the back of his mind, hungry to catch the scent again. That sweet, freesia-like citrus that had his whole body reacting earlier. Venus clenched his jaw and forced the urge down, but after what felt like an eternity, he stood up abruptly. "I'm calling it a night." All eyes turned toward him, some with surprise, others with confusion. He ignored them. He glanced at Alpha Edward. "Let's continue our talk after breakfast." Without waiting for a reply, Venus turned and left the room. Back in his bedroom, he strode to the window and threw it open. The cool air hit his face, and he took a deep breath, trying to settle the storm inside. "Damn it," he muttered. "What's wrong with me?" "You know what's wrong," his wolf replied, low and gruff, "and you know how to fix it." Venus leaned against the windowsill, frustrated. His wolf was telling him to find the copper-haired girl, Talia, but Venus wasn't about to give in. He refused to be led by some primal urge he didn't ask for. He was alpha. He led. He didn't follow, not even instincts. He needed control, always. Letting go meant weakness, and he couldn't afford that. Not here, not ever. Just then, there was a soft voice at the door. "May I come in?" Venus turned sharply. You were already peeking inside. He hadn't even heard you knock. Had you knocked? He didn't answer right away. He hated how distracted he'd been all evening, how unaware he felt. What if you'd been an enemy? He would have been an easy target. That girl was already making him vulnerable, and he hadn't even spoken to her. "She's dangerous," he muttered under his breath. "I need to stay away." Aloud, he said flatly, "Why are you here?" Your face showed a flicker of surprise at his tone, but you took it as permission to step inside. You walked toward him slowly, stopping just a foot away, placing your palms gently on his chest. "You look tense," you said, soft and sweet. "I can help you relax." Venus raised an eyebrow. the edge of a smirk tugging at his mouth. And how exactly would you do that? You licked your lips, remembering how he'd felt earlier, hard, warm, heavy in your mouth. The thought alone made you flush. I know nothing's official yet, you murmured, but technically, we're engaged. Venus's eyes flicked to your fingers, noting the oversized ruby ring surrounded by diamonds. Red moon style. Always bold, always excessive. He looked up into your face. Almond-shaped eyes, full lips, a classic beauty. Objectively attractive. Don't do anything stupid, his wolf snapped. Stay out of it, Venus shot back. His wolf retreated with a snort. You'll regret this. You, of course, were completely unaware of the internal war playing out in Venus's mind. All you saw was him watching you as you leaned in, smiling. But before you could finish, Venus's hand gripped the back of your head, pulling you into a kiss. It was deep and dominant, full of frustration and heat. You gasped as his tongue took control, his body pressing against yours. You didn't even know when you ended up on the bed, but suddenly you were beneath him, breathless and dazed. His kisses were rough, his hands urgent. This wasn't sweet or gentle. It was a man trying to burn something out of himself. You moaned as his hand slid up your thigh and reached the edge of your panties. You barely had time to react before he ripped them clean off. His fingers slid between your folds, hot and wet, teasing the entrance, and that's when panic set in. You caught his wrist and pushed back. Wait, not yet. Venus froze, growling low in his throat. What happened to we're technically engaged? Are you saving yourself for marriage? You hesitated. Not exactly marriage. I want to know we're heading there first. We can do other things. I'm okay with anal or giving you a blowjob. Venus stared at you, then scoffed and sat back. His anger simmered. You pushed yourself onto him, then pulled away with rules and terms like this was some kind of business deal. He wouldn't force you. He never would. But the whiplash made him furious. Get out! You blinked. What? I said get out! His eyes were hard, full of barely contained rage. You felt your whole body lock up. That was the alpha, the real one. The one people feared. You scrambled off the bed and ran, your breath shaky. When the door slammed shut behind you, Venus turned back toward the open window and leaned on the frame, staring up at the moon. Is this your idea of a joke? He muttered bitterly. This is the mate you picked for me. No one answered. They said the moon goddess had a plan for everyone, that every twist of fate had meaning, but Venus didn't buy it. What was the purpose of losing his parents so young? What was the point of leading the biggest, strongest pack in the country if everyone around him wanted to manipulate him, control him, betray him? Why was he stuck playing political games when all he wanted was peace? And now, why give him a mate? He didn't ask for her. If he could have one wish, it would be to disappear, to live as someone no one noticed, no title, no pressure, just a simple, free life. But he knew that would never happen. The responsibility of the Dark Howler's pack was carved into his soul. Tens of thousands of wolves looked up to him, trusted him to protect them, guide them. That weight would never go away. Venus exhaled slowly. Hey, he called out in his mind. Can we talk? Silence. His wolf was still there, but quiet, cold, clearly disappointed. Venus clenched his fists. Fine, he muttered. Stay silent. But even as he said it, he felt the emptiness stretch wider inside him. Chapter 14. Encounter in the kitchen. It was past 2 a.m, and Venus couldn't sleep. His room faced the garden, with the forest stretching beyond. He needed air. A run might help clear his head. Ideally, he'd shift and let his wolf run wild, feel the grass and soil under his paws, the wind slicing through his fur. That always calmed him, but he was in red moon territory. If anyone saw his wolf out here, they might take it as a challenge. He wasn't here to start a war. He was here to figure out what Alpha Edward was planning. Venus moved silently down the stairs to the main floor, turning toward the garden when a familiar scent stopped him cold. That citrusy sweetness, freesia. His legs moved on their own, guiding him down a hallway he hadn't been through before. The kitchen. The lights were off, but the open fridge bathed the room in a dim glow. And there, half buried in the refrigerator, was a small figure. From the back, she looked maybe 15 or 16 at most, delicate, small. He stepped forward silently until he was standing just behind you. He inhaled. That scent, gods, it was dizzying. His wolf was howling in the back of his mind, urging him to get closer. Maybe lick your neck, maybe bite. He cleared his throat. You jumped so hard, your head smacked into the fridge shelf. Ow! You winced, clutching your forehead as you spun around, your eyes locked with his, and you froze. Horror flared across your face. You knew who he was. The important guest, the one you walked in on earlier when he was with that other woman. You cursed under your breath. Of all people, after Marcy came to threaten you in the attic, you stayed hidden until the house went completely quiet. You hadn't planned to leave at all, but the pain lingered, and you needed something cold, maybe just something to eat. Hunger had a way of pushing past fear. If you'd known this man would be in the kitchen, you would have starved through the night instead. It wouldn't be the first time. You once thought Marcy was kind, but today she showed her real face. Anna was cruel, but at least you could see it coming. Marcy pretended to care until she didn't. Now here you were, standing in front of the intimidating alpha, his eyes narrowed on you. Was he angry? Would he hurt you too? You lowered your gaze and tried to slide past him. I'm sorry, Venius stepped into your path, blocking you with one arm. What are you sorry for? He didn't like this. You were trying to get away from him. Most women would throw themselves at him for even a second of attention. And here you were, desperate to escape. Why? I didn't mean to get in your way, you said quietly, heart pounding. If you'll excuse me. Wait! His voice halted you. You froze as he stared, trying to make out your face in the shadows. He couldn't see you clearly, not until the fridge light caught your cheek just right. Then he stepped closer. His hand gripped your chin, not roughly, but firm, and the moment his fingers touched your skin, a shock of energy jolted through both of you. Sparks, like static, but deeper, warmer. Mate. His wolf wagged in delight, howling with satisfaction. And for a moment, Venius felt the same until he really looked at your face. Your lip was swollen, your left eye dark with a bruise. Another ugly mark spread along your cheek. What happened to your face? He asked, voice sharp. You swallowed. I fell. That lie was weak, and you both knew it. That must have been one hell of a fall, he muttered. Then he spotted the faint marks on your neck fingerprints. Someone had choked you. Rage flashed through Venius like lightning. Every part of him burned. Who touched you? Who hurt his mate? Who did this? His jaw clenched so tight, his voice came out like a growl. You flinched, terrified. You shook your head, eyes wide. No one! Please! Can I go? He let go of your chin, but then his hand rested on your shoulder, even through your worn-out sweatshirt. He could feel that electric buzz again. His palm tingled. He stared at the bruise on your cheek again, heart pounding harder. That shape, oval, with small dots around the edge. His mind flashed back to earlier, to the ruby ring on Marcy's hand. Could it be? Stop scaring her, his wolf warned. Venius blinked and looked at you again. You were frozen, shoulders rigid. Fear flooded your expression. His hand rested lightly on your shoulder, and he realized how fragile you were. So thin, so breakable. If he squeezed too hard, he could crush you. He let go, slow and careful. I won't hurt you, he said, voice low, but you didn't move, didn't speak. You didn't believe him. Why would you? No one here protected you. No one believed you. Everyone either ignored you or used you. She's been abused, his wolf whispered. Venius shut his eyes, fighting another wave of fury. Someone had hurt you, his mate. Someone in this very house. He breathed deep. The freesia scent clung to the air like a calming drug, and he inhaled again and again, trying to center himself. When he finally opened his eyes, you were gone. He hadn't heard you leave. Was it real? Did you actually stand there with him, or was it his imagination? Imagination, my ass, his wolf barked. Use your nose. Go after her. Venius didn't hesitate. He moved fast, following your scent through the kitchen and out into the garden. He would find you, and whoever had laid hands on you would pay. Chapter 15. Understanding the Bond. Venius stopped in the middle of the garden and took a long breath, searching for your scent. Freesia, there it was. But the wind carried traces of hydrangea and roses, scattering everything in different directions. Shit, he muttered. I lost her. Why did she run? Venius asked his wolf. Maybe because you scared the soul out of her. That threw him. Scared her? How? She's obviously abused and jumpy, and you crept up behind her. You blocked her exit. You grabbed her and demanded answers. Yeah, you scared her. And don't forget, the first time she saw you, some random girl was on her knees in front of you, and you yelled at her like she was a criminal. That was her first impression of you. Venius cursed internally. No matter how much he tried, your image kept flashing in his mind. That fragile face, those injured eyes. Damn mate bond. But then something struck him. If she's my mate, why did she run away from me? Shouldn't she feel the same pull I do? Shouldn't she want to be close to me? I don't think she knows you're her mate, his wolf replied. Too young? No, she looks small, yeah, but I'm sure she's over 18. The issue's deeper than age. Venus paused, unease growing. What do you mean? I can't sense her wolf. His stomach dropped. She's human. The idea stung. A powerful alpha. With a human mate. Humans were weak. Fragile. Like you. How would you survive in a world like his? No, she's not human. I'm certain she's a she-wolf. But sometimes, if someone's been hurt or neglected badly enough, the wolf inside goes dormant to protect them. Judging by her bruises, I'd say that's exactly what happened. She's starving and barely holding it together. Venus groaned and shoved his hand through his hair. I scared her off and she didn't even get to eat. Damn it! What are you trying to fix here? His wolf asked, sarcasm laced in his tone. Weren't you planning to sleep with Marcy and leave? What now? Gonna track the girl down and take her out for breakfast? Venus didn't respond. He stared at the dark tree line beyond the garden. The wind cold against his skin. He didn't plan this. He didn't want this. You were changing him and he hated that. He needed control. And with you, he was already losing it. His wolf was quiet for once, but Venus could feel its smug satisfaction. He came out hoping for a run. Now, all he wanted was to find you again, to check that you were all right. Maybe to feel those sparks one more time and make sure it wasn't just in his head, but he had no idea where you went. And even if he did, what would he say? The next morning, are you guys up? Venus reached out through the mind link. We are now, Caden grumbled. They had a silent rule. Unless it was urgent, Venus wouldn't interrupt their nights. Technically, it was morning now, barely past 5, but it still felt early. The reports from Europe aren't in yet, Caden added, assuming Venus was asking about Marcy's background. I'll check on them. No, that's not why I called. What's going on? Maya's voice joined. Caden, come to my room. On my way! Caden walked into Venus's room and shut the door behind him. You good? You look rough. Did someone attack you? His eyes scanned the space, then stopped at the torn panties on the floor. He shook his head with a smirk. You really don't know moderation, do you? I mean, damn, you look like roadkill. But Venus didn't laugh. He didn't even look up. Caden's grin faded. Something was wrong. What's going on? Venus sat forward, elbows on his knees, hands digging through his hair. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. Nightmares. He wasn't going to admit what he saw in those dreams. Your crying face, the way you screamed silently as dark shadows strangled you. He tried to reach you in the dream, slamming into invisible walls while you bled in front of him. He jolted awake, drenched in sweat, again and again. After the last one, he gave up trying to rest. Instead, he called Caden. I need to ask you something, Venus said, voice low. What did it feel like when you met Maya? Caden blinked. What? You heard me. Caden studied him carefully. Is Marcy your mate? No. Just answer the damn question. Caden leaned on the wall, arms crossed. There were sparks, a pull like I couldn't breathe unless I was near her. I thought I was happy before I met her. I didn't know shit, Venus growled under his breath. That's not what I feel. Caden's brow lifted. What do you mean? All I got was rage. The moment I saw her bruised face, I wanted to rip the whole damn pack apart. Then I couldn't sleep. I still can't breathe right. Caden tilted his head. Did you ever think of resisting it? Venus hesitated. You mean the bond? Yeah, the bond. Caden shrugged. Why would I resist the best thing that ever happened to me? I waited over 20 years for Maya. She's it. What if she was in danger? Because of you, Venus asked. Would you still hold on? Or would you let her go? To keep her safe. Caden's expression darkened. That's a dumb question. I'd protect her, period. But rejecting her, that would break us both. I'd rather die than lose her like that. Venus stayed quiet. Caden pushed off the wall. All right, I answered your questions. Now it's your turn. What the hell is going on with you? You look like you just survived a war or maybe a really weird threesome. I don't know what's going on, Venus said, voice flat. When I figure it out, I'll let you know. Caden nodded slowly. He knew Venus well enough not to push. We're leaving after breakfast, right? Venus hesitated. Could he really leave without seeing you one more time, just to make sure your bruises were healing? Maybe to feel those sparks again, just to prove to himself they weren't in his head. Let me think about it. I'll talk to Alpha Edward after breakfast. Caden didn't argue. He walked out, leaving Venus alone with his thoughts and with the one thing he couldn't get out of his mind, you. Chapter 16. A memory etched in blood. You don't flinch when Venius looks at you like you're the center of the universe. That intensity in his eyes, any other girl would melt under it. But not you. Not after what happened 10 years ago. He thinks you're just a quiet, cautious Omega girl, the kind that fidgets when an alpha speaks, the kind who lowers her head when he enters the room. You've played your part well. But behind that mask is fire, cold fire. You remember it vividly. It had rained that day, hard enough to drown the sun. You and Telsa were both barely 13. She'd come running into your room, soaked to the skin, clutching a crumpled note. You can still see the smear of ink across the paper, the panic in her eyes. It was Venius. He set up the whole thing, she whispered. That night, she was gone. They said it was an accident. Rogue wolves. Wrong place, wrong time. But there were no rogues on that side of the border. Not that night. And the bruises on her arms didn't look like rogue bites. They looked like a beating, a warning, a punishment. It took you years to piece it all together. The names, the lies, the payments. Venius was there. Venius ordered it. Telsa had stumbled upon something she shouldn't have. And you? You were supposed to be next, but your father, brutal as he was, kept you too tightly leashed for Venius to finish what he started. That was the only reason you survived. Now, the same man stands just steps away, watching you like you're something fragile and precious. You almost laugh. You okay? He asks, his voice rough, like gravel underfoot. You blink up at him, putting on your best version of innocence, just tired. He takes a step closer. You can rest in my room if you want. The implication is clear. Any other Omega would be red in the face, flustered, but you nod softly. If it wouldn't trouble you, Alpha. He leads you upstairs like it's the most natural thing in the world, and you let him. Every step you take is calculated, every movement rehearsed, because Venius might think he's in control of this story, but he's not. Inside his room, you breathe in the sharp scent of pinewood and musk. Clean, strong. It should unnerve you, but it doesn't. You take a seat by the window while he pours 2 glasses of water. You seemed off today, he says as he hands you a glass. Did someone bother you? You shake your head gently. No, just memories. He watches you carefully. Bad ones? You turn to the window. Outside, the full moon hovers like a pale eye, watching, judging. I had a friend. Long ago. Her name was Telsa. You say it like it's nothing, like it doesn't dig through your ribcage every time her name leaves your mouth. Venius stiffens ever so slightly. I don't know anyone by that name, he lies. You hum softly. She died when we were kids. Brutal death. No rogues around. Strange, isn't it? He doesn't speak. You don't look at him. The alpha of the region never even launched a full investigation. Maybe he didn't think it was worth it, Venius says quietly. Maybe, you murmur. You let the silence stretch until it's tight around both your necks. Then you stand, placing the glass down with delicate care. Good night, Alpha. Thank you for the water. And you leave before he can say anything else, because tonight was just the beginning. Back in your room, you peel off the carefully practiced expression like it's a second skin. You look in the mirror and see someone else staring back, someone hungry, someone who isn't going to let the past go unanswered. You think of the curse. Every full moon, Venius suffers. He hides it well, but you heard the whispers. That's why he never mates, why he never marks anyone. Because the moment he marries, the curse tightens. No longer a dull pain, but agony, a torment he can't escape. There's a loophole. According to old pack records you discovered years ago, there's only one way to truly sever the curse, complete bond consummation with a true mate. But most don't know that. You smile. Venius certainly doesn't. You know what to do. You'll make him fall. Not just into your bed, but into a trap so elaborate he'll never crawl out. You'll lie. You'll pretend the curse can be broken through marriage alone, through a Luna's vow, through ritual. He'll marry you thinking it's salvation, and you'll watch as it becomes his damnation. Telsa will finally be avenged. You begin to write letters, secret ones. You know you're not the only one he hurt. There are other girls who were cast aside, promised things, broken. You will gather them. You will share the plan. Together, you will finish what Telsa started. Together, you will destroy the alpha of the Dark Howlers, and no one will ever suspect the sweet, quiet Omega with the shy smile was the one who orchestrated it all. Chapter 17. The Curse. You start with the night whispers. In the kitchens, in the servant halls, during late-night laundry shifts with the Omegas, who've worked here for decades. You let your hands scrub and your ears sharpen. They speak of curses and secrets between half-breaths and aching backs. It takes time. But one name keeps circling back like a bloodstain that never washes out Alpha Venus and the full moon. The pieces fall together slowly. Pain, suffering, a pattern of unexplained agony that strikes him every month, like clockwork, since his 18th year. You find scrolls in the old library, half-burned texts in the Omega wing, the ones no one reads anymore. You steal a page and smuggle it into your room, reading it by candlelight as the wax drips down your fingers. The moon-bound curse, it reads, binds the alpha who defies the mate bond. Only mating relieves it. Rejection deepens it. Love breaks it. Love. You almost laugh. You remember Telsa's blood, her screams. No, Venus doesn't get your love. He gets exactly what he gave, pain. The more you dig, the clearer it becomes. He's avoided mating because he's terrified. Terrified of what the curse does to him, terrified of needing someone, of giving anyone that kind of power. And you're the perfect poison in a pretty glass. You don't rush. You let him watch you in silence. You leave things behind, a hair ribbon, the scent of freesia, a knowing glance. You play him like a violin that deserves to be broken. One night, you let the whisper slip between two gossiping kitchen Omegas as you pass behind them. They say the curse ends if he marries his fated one. Another day, you feign concern before a pack healer. You ask, like an innocent girl, if pain tied to the moon is real, if love can really cure it. The healer nods, believes you're in love. You tuck the lie in places where Venus will find it. At first, he's skeptical. His eyes darken when you speak of love or fate. But you know the signs of hope, how it curls at the edges of his frown like smoke rising from an old battlefield. It happens after one of his full moon nights. You hear the grunts through the wall, the breaking of wood, the scent of blood and sweat and desperation. You picture him clawing through sheets, thinking of you, not because he wants you, because he needs you. You let him find you the next morning in the greenhouse, hair messy, fingers tracing leaves, sunlight turning your copper strands into fire. You believe in curses? He asks without looking at you. You let a beat of silence stretch long enough to choke on it. Then you nod. I believe in breaking them. He exhales like he's been holding his breath for 10 years. That's the first hook. He starts following you more after that, watching your movements, inviting you to stupid things, tea on the terrace, a stroll near the stream. You say yes to just enough to let the tension stretch taut. Not too tight to snap, not too loose to escape. And in the shadows, you gather your allies, the other women. You find the ones he used, the ones he marked and forgot. Not with love, but with lust. They hurt, they burn, they want closure. You give them something better. You tell them the truth, not about Telsa, not yet. About Venus, about the curse, about the lie that marrying him will break it, even as it kills him. He's desperate, you say, like it's a kindness. He'll marry, he has to, and he'll need us, each of us. You want your revenge, make him need what he's always taken for granted. You watch their eyes flare, some with pain, some with fury, a few with sick joy. You have your inner circle now. You are not alone, not like you were 10 years ago. And Venus, he's alone and sinking deeper into your illusion. You share one last lie with him in the hallway, brushing past him, like you didn't mean to linger. Marriage, you whisper. It could be the cure, but only if it's real. He turns to you, catches your arm. Real, you tilt your head, look up like you're vulnerable. Real, like what we have. You feel his grip tighten and then loosen. He lets you go like he's afraid you'll vanish. Good. Let him fear that. Let him chase. Let him fall in love with the lie, because once the knot is tied, you'll pull the blade. And this time, Telsa will not die in vain. Chapter 18, Gather the Forgotten. You begin with Marcy. Her eyes narrow the moment you step into her room. The heavy perfume she wears can't hide the bitterness that clings to her skin like old smoke. She doesn't speak. Not yet. She thinks you're here to gloat, maybe to play nice before tearing her down. But you don't offer a smile. You offer truth. He used you, you say. She stares at you for a long time, then laughs, bitter, small. Everyone uses everyone here. You're no different. You sit down across from her and reach into your bag. The photograph is old, faded, printed from a secret file buried deep in Alpha Edward's archive. Telsa, Marcy, And you before everything fell apart, before Telsa died. Marcy's hand was on Telsa's shoulder, your braid looped around both their arms, sisters not by blood, but by pain. You remember her, don't you? Marcy looks away. Her lips tremble. She's dead. Because of him, because of Venus. The silence that follows isn't empty, it's sharp, real. I know you loved him once, you whisper, but he loved no one. Not you, not her, not any of us. It takes a long time, but Marcy finally nods, just once, and that's enough. Next is Nora. You find her outside the training grounds, trying to spar with a new beta like she's not breaking inside. He never called you back, did he? She scoffs, brushing her braid over one shoulder. Please, I knew what it was. But you see it, the way her mouth trembles, the way she blinks too fast. He never even looked at you after that night. He used you to forget someone else. Nora falters. She lowers her fists. I know. You deserve better. We all do. She says nothing, but when you walk away, she follows. Some are harder to reach. There's Mira and Omega, who hides behind her garden like roses can erase the bruises left on her soul. There's Jules, a hunter, who lost her position after Venus denied their affair, leaving her to bear the shame alone. And Alina, barely 20, who believed the whispers Venus fed her in the dark until she bled. You gather them in secret, one by one. You don't promise justice. You promise truth. We all wanted to believe he could love us, that we were different, but we weren't. They don't all agree immediately. Some argue, some cry, but slowly the fire catches. You share the story of the curse. He can't be alone. He needs a mate to survive after marriage. Not love, not commitment, just a warm body. That's what we were to him. You share the lie you planted in his ears, that marriage will break the curse, that love is the cure, that he should hope again. They listen. You explain the plan. Step 1, gain his trust. Become the perfect mate. Sweet, obedient, worshipping. Step 2, get him to mark you. Marking ties the bond, weakens him. Step 3, marry him. The curse activates. The suffering begins. Step 4, starve him. Hold back the one thing that keeps him from losing control. Let the pain consume him. And finally, strike. End it. We'll let the curse finish what we can't. Some hesitate. It's cruel, Alina whispers. So was he, you reply. So was what he did to Telsa, to all of us. Marcy stands then, her voice steady. I'll do it. I'll be the second wave if you falter. Nora nods. Me too. One by one, they agree. You watch them. Women who were broken, now sharpening themselves into weapons. This isn't just revenge, it's reclamation. He took your choices, your dignity, your friend. Now you take everything. Late that night, you sit under the moonlight, the ring box Venus gave you cold in your palm. He thinks this means love. You know it means war, but you whisper his name softly to the stars, because you know he's listening. You know his wolf can hear. Let him dream of you. Let him ache, because soon the aching will never stop. And that's the price he'll pay for what he did to Telsa, for what he did to all of you. Chapter 19, The Seduction. You don't need to chase Venus anymore. He comes to you. Like a moth to flame, he gravitates toward the faintest trace of your scent, that citrus freesia note you now wear deliberately, enhanced just enough with herbs and oils suggested by the old healer. A scent that speaks to instincts he doesn't yet understand. Each encounter is designed. You always act surprised, always a little flustered, never too eager, never fully withdrawn. Sometimes you stumble into him in the hallway. Other times he catches a glimpse of your bare shoulder beneath a loosely tied robe. Once, you let a slow tear fall when he walked in on you in the garden at midnight, whispering Telsa's name. He touched your cheek that night, gently, almost reverently. You let him. I don't know what you're doing to me, he said that night. I can't sleep. I dream of your voice, your eyes. You looked away. Maybe it's the curse. He flinched. That word cuts deep now. It's everywhere. Omegas whisper it. The old seer in the mountain village confirmed it. Conveniently. You even left a half-burned scroll on his desk, just enough for him to discover the old law himself. And the lie that marriage might break it? It's taken root. But it's not just you anymore. The others are in place. Nora plays the loyal shadow. She smiles at him during meetings, brings him tea, and makes sure he sees her watching you with silent admiration. It stokes his ego, makes him believe he's winning you. Marcy has a different role. She's back to her old self, flirty, confident, sexy in a way that makes Venius believe he still has options, that if he loses you, he still has something. You're the anchor. Nora is the kindness. Marcy is the danger. He's surrounded and he doesn't even know it. The twist comes the night of the full moon. You planned it all. You and the girls throw a celebration, a rare lunar festival in honour of the Pax traditions. Venius isn't part of the planning, but the moment he steps into the open field strung with glowing lanterns and silk, he sees you standing under the largest moon of the year, draped in deep crimson, your copper hair cascading down your back. You look like a vision. He forgets to breathe. Your dress is fitted but modest. You want him to imagine what lies beneath, to hunger for it, to believe it's all for him. He walks straight past everyone and stops in front of you. "Dance with me." You pretend to hesitate, biting your lip. "Just one," you say. It's the first time you allow physical contact in front of the whole pack. The moment your hand slips into his, you feel it, the sparks. Real, raw, electric. But unlike before, you don't shudder. You absorb it, weaponize it, let it amplify your resolve. He doesn't look at anyone else, not even once. Later, he follows you. You make sure your room is dimly lit, your window open to let the moonlight spill across the sheets. He's tense. You know he's fighting it, that internal war between desire and restraint. That same battle his cursed blood wages every full moon. You sit on the edge of the bed, tilt your head. "You okay?" He swallows hard. "You shouldn't be this beautiful." You offer a sad smile. "You shouldn't be this cursed." A pause. "Do you believe what they say, that a mate can undo it?" You hesitate, then nod slowly. "I believe. The bond can heal things, even the oldest wounds, but only if it's real." He drops to one knee, placing his head against your thigh like a penitent warrior. It feels real with you, and it's terrifying. You stroke his hair. You think of Telsa, of her torn body, of your alpha father's cold silence when she died. You whisper, "Then let yourself be healed." In the shadows outside, Nora watches from one end of the corridor, a knowing look on her face. From the other, Marcy lights a candle and places it in the hallway, a silent signal. The seduction is complete. The trap is nearly set. And tomorrow, Venus will propose. Just as you planned, let him dream of freedom. Let him believe he's found salvation. He has no idea he's already on his knees before the executioner. Chapter 20. The bond weakens. You time it perfectly. The moment the moon begins to rise, you light the special incense you prepared weeks in advance. Nothing magical, nothing cursed, just an old blend used by forest witches to soothe fevers. It smells strange enough to be mysterious. Venius doesn't ask what it is. He trusts you now, more than he should. He sits beside you on the woven mat in the middle of the moon pavilion, breathing deeply as you chant soft incantations you found in a discarded folklore journal. Nonsense words, but laced with intention. Illusion is a powerful thing when people are desperate enough to believe it. Venius leans into your shoulder, his chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. He believes the rituals are healing him, that the bond is stabilizing, that you're saving him. "Does it feel lighter?" you whisper. He nods slowly, his eyes closed. The pain, it isn't as sharp. You smile, gently brushing your fingers down his jawline. That means the curse is breaking. He kisses your palm, but you feel it. His strength is dwindling, slowly, steadily. And it's not the rituals that are doing it. It's you. Each time you pull him closer, it tightens the leash around his heart. And the more he believes you're the cure, the more his own instincts fail him. You can see it in the way his eyes fog over when you're near, in the way he doesn't question the whispers you plant. Yet tonight, something shifts. Venius stumbles to his knees just before midnight, gripping his chest. You rush forward and catch him. He's shaking violently, a sheen of sweat covering his skin. The same curse that once only left him breathless now drags him down like a drowning man. "It hurts," he groans. You cradle his face, feigning panic. "Shh, it's okay, I'm here." But deep down, you're calm. This was what you planned. Test him before the wedding. See how far he's fallen. Except, you didn't chant the last line, he mutters suddenly, voice hoarse. "The last part of the ritual. You always say it." Your heart skips. Venus's eyes lock on yours, hazy but aware. "Why did you skip it?" You force a smile. I was worried. You collapsed. You booked it. He stares at you for a long moment, then nods slowly. Right. But the air between you shifts. The seed of doubt has been planted. The next day, he disappears. He leaves no message, no scent trail. Not even Caden or Maya know where he's gone. Nora starts to panic. Marcy demands answers. You remain still. You knew this moment might come, but he returns before sunset, clothes torn, mud on his boots, a gash on his forearm. I found it, he tells you, standing in your doorway. The source of the curse. You blink, caught off guard. What? A witch in the dead pines confirmed it. The curse feeds on deception, on lies between mates. Your blood runs cold. She said the bond is sacred, that it withers when either mate keeps secrets. You try to speak, but nothing comes. Venus steps forward, closing the space between you. His eyes search yours, calm and terrifying. So, I need to ask, before the ceremony tomorrow, he cups your face in both hands. Are you hiding anything from me? Behind your calm smile, your mind races. Every move you made, every whisper, every lie. You were meticulous, surgical, but the curse is older than you, older than Venus, and it knows. You swallow and reach for his hand. I swear on the moon, you say, voice soft. Everything I have done was to protect you. He nods slowly. Then tomorrow, he whispers, kissing your forehead, we start again. He leaves without another word, and you crumble the moment the door shuts. Not from guilt, but because the plan just got much more dangerous. Later that night, Marcy slips into your room. He knows, you say before she can speak. Marcy stiffens. How much? Not enough, but he's watching. We need to move fast. Nora arrives 10 minutes later. The three of you sit in silence for a while, the weight of what's coming pressing in from all sides. Then you speak. We move after the vows, no sooner, no later. You pull out the ring box Venus gave you just yesterday. Inside it is a moonstone said to bind souls, said to reveal truths. You smile. If he wants to play with ancient power, then we'll make sure he burns in it. Marcy and Nora nod. The wedding is tomorrow, and Venus's fall begins at the altar. Chapter 22. The wedding. The night before the ceremony, the moon hung like a sharp sickle in the sky, thin and watchful. Venus couldn't sleep. A gnawing sensation twisted in his gut, faint but persistent. He had spent the entire week preparing for the wedding, convincing himself this was right. But something about you, the way you seemed too perfect, too calm, like a trap wrapped in silk. He got out of bed quietly and mind-linked Marcy. Meet me at the greenhouse. Now, Marcy responded quickly. She had been on edge ever since you gathered the other women. She didn't know the full plan, only her role in it. But that was enough to make her heart pound every time Venus so much as looked at her. She arrived 10 minutes later, her hair tied back hastily, breath slightly uneven. You wanted to see me? Venus stood by the glass wall, back turned. What do you think of her? Marcy stiffened. Who? He looked over his shoulder, one brow raised. Don't play dumb. The woman I'm marrying tomorrow. Marcy swallowed. Her tongue felt like sandpaper. She's beautiful, smart. You seem to like her. Venus stepped closer. It's not about what I like. It's about what's true. Do you trust her? Marcy's eyes darted to the corner, avoiding his gaze. I think she trusts you. He narrowed his eyes. That's not what I asked. The words were sharp enough to pierce skin. Marcy's composure cracked. Her lips trembled. Why are you asking me this? Because you've known her longer than I have. Because you both seem close now. Too close? The silence hung heavy until the door creaked open. You stepped inside like you had known this confrontation would happen. Alpha Venus, you said gently. I thought I'd find you here. He turned to you, the tension in his shoulders slowly unraveling as his eyes landed on your face. Calm, steady, warm. You turned to Marcy. Thank you, Marcy. I'll take it from here. Marcy blinked in relief and almost stumbled as she exited. You waited until she was gone before stepping closer to Venus. You're doubting me! I'm questioning everything. That's what I do before binding my soul to someone. You nodded. Then ask me, whatever you want. He didn't speak immediately. His jaw tightened. Why me? You could have said no. Walked away. You smiled faintly, voice soft. Because for the first time in my life, I felt needed. I've lived in the shadows too long. I want to matter to someone. Even if it means stepping into something terrifying. It was rehearsed, perfectly delivered. Your voice cracked at the right moment. Your eyes shimmered but didn't break. And most importantly, you didn't lie. Not technically. Venus stared at you, trying to read between the lines. But the truth is, he didn't want to find anything. He wanted to believe you, and that desire, it won. He took your hand, fingers curling around yours tightly. Tomorrow, we seal this bond. You understand what that means, right? You nodded. More than you think. Morning came like a tidal wave of light. The Red Moon Pack's grounds buzzed with energy. Elders donned ceremonial robes. Warriors stood in full dress, and omegas scattered fresh blossoms through the hall. The wedding would be held beneath the sacred arch, a place where hundreds of past unions were sanctified. You stood in your chamber, cloaked in white. The gown hugged your body like a second skin, pure and unmarred. No one could see the fury that pulsed beneath it. No one saw the scars buried beneath lace. Telsa's locket hung beneath your collarbone. There were knocks at the door. Maya entered first, her eyes misting at the sight of you. "You look like a lunar already," she whispered. You only nodded. Words were dangerous now. When the music began, you stepped out onto the stone path leading to the arch. Venus stood at the altar, dressed in silver and black. Regal, beautiful, dangerous. His eyes locked onto yours, and the crowd faded into silence. He offered his hand. You took it. Vows were spoken, words written by tradition and repeated like spells. Venus's voice was deep, steady. Yours, serene, but each syllable was a dagger you slid into place. When it was time for the mark, Venus leaned in, fangs extending. He bit your shoulder gently, the mark burning into your skin like molten iron. The crowd erupted in cheers. You bared your teeth and bit him back, blood mingling as the bond snapped into place. A tether, a rope of energy. You expected it to hurt, to choke you, but it gave you power. Inside, you felt a sudden surge, a direct link to his pulse, his wolf, his mind. Not full access, but enough to read flashes of thoughts, buried fear, desire. You hid your grin behind a kiss. The guests roared. Venus pulled you close and whispered, "From now on, you're mine." You whispered back, "Always," but in your mind you saw Telsa's blood pooling in moonlight. And you made a silent vow. He has no idea what he's brought into his home. The wedding ended in fireworks and festivities, the entire pack drowning in wine, song and celebration. But the true spark had already been lit, and the flames would come soon enough. Chapter 23, The Full Moon. The moon hung high and full in the midnight sky, casting a cold silver light through the windows of the Red Moon Pack's grand estate. The air was thick with tension, as if even the stars held their breath, waiting for what would unfold tonight. Inside the bridal chamber, Venus tossed and turned beneath the heavy blankets, his face slick with cold sweat. His body writhed as the ancient curse clawed at him relentlessly. The agony wasn't just physical, it clawed at his soul, twisting him from within like a beast trapped in his own flesh. You watched from the shadows, your heart steady but cold. This night was the culmination of everything you'd planned, everything you'd waited for. The power to finally make him pay, to make him suffer as Telsa had. Venus groaned, clutching at his chest. His breathing was ragged, each inhale shallow, each exhale a ragged gasp of pain. "Please!" His voice cracked, weak and desperate. "Please, help me!" Your lips curled into a quiet, almost merciless smile. He had no idea you were already 3 steps ahead, that his pleas were just part of the game you controlled. You stepped forward, soft and deliberate. You reached out, your fingers brushing the damp strands of his hair away from his forehead. The touch was gentle, a calculated act of mercy. "I'm here," you murmured, voice low, weaving just enough warmth to fool him. "I won't let you suffer." Venus's eyes fluttered open, locking onto yours with a fragile hope that made your chest tighten, but only for a moment. You pressed a tender kiss to his temple, whispering, "Rest now, you're safe." And just like that, the fire in his eyes dimmed, his breathing slowed. The beast inside him settled, lulled by your voice and touch. He believed you saved him, but he couldn't be more wrong, because outside the room, in the hidden corners of the estate, the other girls were already in motion. Nora, Marcy, and the others moved silently, shadows among shadows. Each carried a vital piece of the plan. Marcy's fingers trembled slightly as she lit the incense, the smoky tendrils curling upward, carrying a poison specifically crafted to seep into Venus's senses. The scent was sweet and cloying enough to disarm him, to dull his instincts. Nora, with a practiced hand, traced intricate symbols in salt on the floor, weaving magic circles designed to bind and suppress. Her voice was a quiet chant, weaving the ancient language of the pack's secret healers, but twisted to serve your cause. You weren't just taking revenge, you were dismantling Venus's power piece by piece, leaving him vulnerable in the cruelest way possible. Your voice, calm and steady, echoed softly through a hidden alcove where you oversaw the ritual. Tonight, the curse becomes his end. Not just a torment, but a death sentence. A sudden noise startled everyone, the sharp click of a door opening. For a moment, the entire group froze. Had Venus woken early? Had suspicion taken root? But it was just a guard, passing by and ignoring the strange quiet in the chambers. Relieved but tense, you nodded to the others to continue. Back in the bridal room, Venus stirred, restless in his uneasy sleep. His body twitched, muscles contracting in pain. You reached out again, placing your palm over his heart. You whispered words, taught to you by a mysterious elder words, that would bind the curse to the ritual you'd set in motion. The moment your skin touched his, the air seemed to shiver. You felt the power surge beneath your palm. Not love, not warmth, but raw, desperate life force struggling to break free. You pulled back, smiling faintly. This was it, the moment that would tip the scales. Suddenly, Venus's eyes snapped open. He looked at you, panic flashing as the curse clawed inside him again, harder than before. Why? His voice was broken, desperate. Why are you doing this? You met his gaze without hesitation. Because you deserve every second, you said coldly. For Telsa, for every lie, every betrayal. His body shuddered violently, and he barely caught himself from falling out of bed. You stepped closer, raising your hand in a mock gesture of comfort. But don't worry, this night will be your last alone in pain. After this, you'll never escape. His eyes searched yours, confusion, fear, a flicker of something like understanding. And that was when the suppression spell fully took hold. Outside the room, a soft glow pulsed from the magic circles, the curse now shackled, locked, suffocating. Venus's struggles weakened. He slumped back onto the pillows, gasping. You smiled, feeling a rush of dark satisfaction. But the night wasn't over, because while the curse trapped him, the final blow was still ahead. You whispered to the group, "Prepare the last step, the binding." Marcy stepped forward, pulling from her cloak a slender dagger, its blade inscribed with ancient runes. The others began a final chant, their voices rising like a storm. You glanced at Venus, watching his helpless form beneath the blankets. Then the door burst open. A figure appeared, a wild, furious wolf in human form. Venus's loyal wolf, fighting to break free. But the magic held strong. The wolf's eyes glowed fiercely, meeting yours with rage. "I'm your mate," you whispered, voice steady. "And I am the hunter now." The wolf snarled, but it couldn't break the spell. You moved closer to Venus's side, blade gleaming in the moonlight. "This ends tonight," you said, and with a swift, sure motion, you plunged the dagger into the circle, sealing the curse and sealing his fate. Venus screamed, a sound between human agony and beast's rage. But the magic was complete. The curse would no longer torment him, it would consume him. You stepped back, heart pounding. This was no longer just revenge, it was justice. And soon the entire pack would see what happens when an alpha crosses the wrong woman. Chapter 24. The Reckoning. Darkness cloaks the room like a suffocating shroud. Venus's breath scraped the silence, shallow, ragged, desperate. His body lies still, a prisoner of your spell. Every muscle screams, "Ukkies," but the magic binding him is absolute. He is trapped, utterly helpless. His wild eyes search the shadows for any sign of salvation. Then they land on you. You stand over him, a figure carved from ice and fire, and your gaze burns through him, a look he's never seen before, and one he will never forget. "Telsa sends her regards." The words hang heavy between you, a simple sentence, but it carries a decade of rage, pain, and betrayal. Venus's breath catches in his throat. He chokes, the weight of realization crashing down, the lies he told himself, the women he used and discarded. The wedding night, built on deception, it all comes crashing down in a brutal wave of truth. You are the architect of his undoing. The puppet master behind every move he thought he controlled. His chest heaves, panic blooming in his eyes. He thrashes weakly against the invisible chains, but your magic only tightens. His own curse, once a torment, now serves your purpose, a merciless executioner. Outside, The full moon climbs high, its pale light flooding the room with a cold glow. Venus's screams shred the silence, raw, guttural, a wounded beast's roar, but no one comes, no one answers. The pack waits in silent vigil. The power shift unmistakable. Venus's empire of lies crumbles beneath your steady gaze. You lean closer, voice a whisper, but filled with steel. This is what happens when you ruin lives, when you betray friendships, when you let your pride blind you. His eyes plead helpless, broken. But you have no mercy left to give. For 10 years you carried this pain alone. For 10 years you shaped this moment. And now the scales finally tip. Suddenly, the door crashes open. Alpha Edward storms in, face pale, eyes wide with shock and anger. What the hell is happening here? His voice rips through the heavy silence. You stand tall, unwavering. It's justice, you say plainly. For Telsa. Edward's breath catches, the truth sinking into his bones. His gaze shifts to Venus's bound form, once an alpha king, now a broken man. You didn't see, you say, voice steady but heavy with accusation. You were blinded by Venus's charm and power, but now you understand. Edward turns to Venus, searching for an explanation, but Venus can only sob defeated, shattered, exposed. The pack elders follow, chanting spells to strengthen the bindings, ensuring Venus's fall is irreversible. As his screams weaken into hoarse gasps, you feel a heavy burden lift from your chest. Your fight isn't over, but the reckoning has begun, and you are ready. The ending, a new dawn. Days later, the pack gathers beneath the dawn's early light. Venus remains confined, his power stripped away by the curse-turned prison you orchestrated. Alpha. Edward stands beside you, not just as an ally, but as a witness to your strength and resolve. The pack looks to you now, not as the quiet, broken girl who carried her pain in silence, but as the force of change. Telsa's memory is honoured, the truth laid bare. You speak with calm authority, your voice steady as you address the pack. This isn't just about Venus, you say. It's about justice, about protecting those who cannot protect themselves. The women who once fell prey to Venus's lies stand beside you, Nora, Marcy, and others. No longer victims, but warriors united. Together, you vow to rebuild the pack, a place where truth matters, where loyalty is sacred, and where the shadows of the past can no longer control your future. As the sun rises, bathing the land in golden light, you feel something new stirring inside you, not just power, but hope. For the first time in years, the future feels yours to shape, and this time, you will not be broken.